developed this friendship with Jesus, which still throws off my Jewish mother. He has supported me so much in moving through fear. When I was talking to him this week, saying, you know, what can I bring these people? He did tell me certain things to mention. He wanted me to first start by telling you a little bit how I got here. So I was an educator in New York City, and very conventional lifestyle. The tenure and the boyfriend, and what security was to me at that time, because it was secure, you know, hence the relationship that really wasn't the right relationship, and the job that wasn't the right job, and the city that wasn't the right city. Anyway, it was a snow day, which never happens in New York City schools, but it did. And I was painting. So, oh, I'm going to paint today. And so I'm painting something. I didn't understand what I was painting, but I went with it. And then this symbol of Jesus shows up. And I didn't know what to do about that, because my family is Jewish, and although we weren't religious and aren't, Jesus was not our friend. So I decided to sleep on it. It was oil paint. I could smudge it. No big deal. I said, let me just keep that there for the night and see how I feel the next day. I kept the symbol. And that opened up this line of communication about 10 years ago. And I ultimately got so sick that I had to leave all that in New York. So I left city, I left the job, I left the relationship, and I went north to upstate New York, and I decided to start exploring my sensitivity. This is something I didn't mention. I was very sensitive in New York. Fluorescent lights, everything, you know, like felt everything, didn't know what that was about. So I thought it was sickness, because I didn't have a model. No one was telling me everything's energy. You know, we're sensitive beings. I didn't know any of that. So after taking some time off of conventional living, I made my way to energy healing school. I mean, there's lots of things I'm leaving out, but it's in the book. So I found my way to healing school. And that's when Jesus started showing up full throttle, like during healings, really making himself known. And I knew that that's what I was meant to be doing. Because really the only place that I was getting A's, if you will. You know, I look back to like high school and how poorly I did, and how I was never a good student. Somehow I made it through college and grad school. But in healing school, I was like, you know, honors with honors, if there is such a thing. But I'm only saying that because it was my calling. And according to Jesus, we all have one. He says we all have our destined purpose. And he goes into the distractions, which are so many. It's almost like this. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. And then we find out that we're attracted to all these things, and we're good at all these different things. But what he says is that, okay, yeah, we're good at a lot of things, or we're interested in certain things. And maybe that is because of some past life residue, and it's distraction. And when we move away from all those other things and we actually choose something, we take a risk and choose something, it's amazing what opens up. And then the world will be a lot different. my friendship with him had become so intimate and so supportive and loving, like nothing I had ever experienced through friendship or parents or siblings. I never felt this kind of love. He listens to people's intentions, not their language. And we were walking through the woods one day, and I said, how can I get this out there? How can I let other people know how cool you are, and how much you can guide them, and be friends and get what I'm getting that I don't get from anybody else? He asked me to write a book. So I said, okay, a book. I start writing something. I hated writing it. I thought I was supposed to be writing my life story and like how I got to where I was, and it was dreadful, going through all the trauma again and everything again. So a month goes by, exactly 1 month, and I go to a gathering, and I meet a publisher, and it's the publisher of Conversations with God. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He says, well, maybe you're supposed to write Conversations with Jesus. Time continues to go by so quickly. Grasping for crumbs of harmony and joy is not what your life ought to be about. Rest assured that it's definitely not the reason you're here. My intention for everyone who travels the pages of this book is for them to find their way out from underneath the layers of falseness that make up much of modern society, so that the beauty of who they are and of the course they are meant to be walking will be clearly known. Lovingly, Jesus.